Good morning. Just want to let everyone know this session will be recorded and I'm getting ready to start recording. Thank you all so much for joining our presentation today, partnering with parents and families for positive programs. Please remember to turn off your cameras and microphones in order to prevent any lag. My name is Herschel Craig. I'm an education program specialist in the Office of Federal Programs, and I'm joined today by my colleague, Casey Allen. For today's discussions, we will be discussing the family engagement strategy, parent notifications, the parent and engagement board approved district policy, the parent school plan, the annual Title I meeting, the school and parent compact, evidence of family engagement, and parent engagement during COVID. The parent and family engagement strategy. This is to increase involvement of parents, custodians, primary caregivers in the children's education and literacy related activities. First, we're going to talk about the parent rights to know. Under ESSA, parents may request the professional qualifications of their students' classroom teachers to include a minimum of the following: whether the student's teacher has met state qualifications and licensing criteria for the grade levels and subject areas in which the teacher provides instruction, whether the teacher is under emergency or other provisional status through which state qualification or licensing criteria have been waived, whether the teacher is in a field of discipline of the certification of the teacher, and whether the child is provided services by paraprofessionals. Also, regarding the parent's right to know, if you're looking for any type of templates for the parent's right to know, you can go to our CCIP document library. If you type in the keyword parents, we have templates in there that districts can use. Also under the parent's right to know is testing transparency. And with this testing transparency, we need to be able to let parents know the subject matter assessed, the purpose of the assessment, the source of requirement for the assessment, where the information will be available, the time spent on the assessment and schedule, and when and how results will become available. Applicable state teaching license. Regarding to parent-family engagement, notifications will still have to be sent to parents of children in Title I schools if their child has been assigned or has been taught 4 or more consecutive weeks by a teacher who is not properly licensed. So districts have to send that out. Who receives notifications? If you are operating a targeted assistance Title I program, only parents of the served students participate. The school must create an eligibility list of those educationally disadvantaged. The school must utilize the multi-criteria list that is in ranked order. Also, districts that serve non-public, the parents of the non-public school children who receive Title I services need to receive all parent and family engagement notifications. Only parents of Title I served students participate. If you are a school-wide Title I program, which means your school has at least 40% poverty or greater, all parents can participate. There's been a huge push for districts to go school-wide as it provides an opportunity to improve the education of all students. Parent notification for limited English proficient students. Within 30 days after the beginning of a school year or 2 weeks after enrollment, each district using Title I-A funds must notify parents of limited English proficient students in their participation in the Title I program in the language that the parent can understand. Parents of ELL students. Title III requires parent and family community engagement for ELL students. All notices must always be in the language of the parents. Any flyers, McKinney-Vento notices, and on the website. Interpreters are to be made available if parents request for parent-teacher conferences or school-wide Title I meetings. Title III parent engagement. Districts receiving Title III funds are required to plan parent engagement activities. This is separate requirement from Title I. So what you do in Title I, you also have to do in Title III, and it's notice to parents in language that they can understand, the opportunity to disseminate this information regarding the EL program and involve these parents. Title III funds can be used for translators as well. This is an allowable use of Title III funds. Parent-family engagement district policy. The parent-family engagement policy is a plan to implement programs with meaningful consultations with parents of participating children. Local boards of education shall adopt a policy on parental involvement in schools. And what we know is, even looking in our CCIP planning tool, anytime you're doing that, there's a portion on there. I know we talked to districts about making sure that they have parents included. Part of having Title I, you have to have parents a part of your plan. So a plan and your policies. The Parent Family Engagement District Policy. Under Section 1118 under ESSA, Parent and Family Engagement District Policy should be developed jointly with parents to establish the agency's expectations, objectives for meaningful parent-family involvement. The district policy should be agreed upon with parents and distributed to parents of participating children and the community. It is important to involve parents in the development of the district policy, school plans, and school improvement. In an effort to improve student academic achievement and school performance, coordination and technical assistance is crucial. The district's written policy shall be incorporated into the district's plan to establish the agency's expectations and objectives for meaningful parent and family engagement. The written policy should describe how the agency will jointly develop the district plan, build school capacity, link to family engagement and other programs, and jointly evaluate the content and effectiveness of the policy, improve programs based on the evaluation findings, and involve parents in activities of Title I schools. This policy should always be evaluated annually. Now, my colleague Casey.
Good morning. Thank you, Herschel. Now we'll be moving on to the School Parent and Family Engagement Plan. The School Parent and Family Engagement Plan should be developed jointly with parents and family members of participating children. This is different from the district parent involvement policy and is unique to each individual Title I served building. When on-site reviews are conducted, a separate building level plan will be requested. This plan should be updated periodically every 3 to 5 years, provide a date of review to ensure compliance, must be agreed upon by parents, should be made available to the community, address specific building requirements, with agendas being saved for annual meetings, parent meetings. You may need to provide transportation, childcare, and home visits as applicable. It is important to involve parents in the planning of the school parent and family engagement plan and provide the parents with information regarding curriculum, assessments, proficiency levels, and opportunities for decision making. Involving parents in planning can be conducted through surveys. Documentation should be maintained for compliance purposes, such as agendas and sign-in sheets. Family engagement activities should be focused on educational, so parents can assist their children at home with academics, reasonable and necessary expenditures that are allowable, and maintain documentation for compliance purposes. The school parent compact is a component of the school level plan. It is usually a one-page letter or contract showing how parents, the student, and the school will work together for the child. The plan of action should outline how everyone shares responsibility for student success. For the school, it should contain high-quality curriculum and instruction, and for the parent, support their children's learning. Provisions to be included for the school parent compact should be jointly developed, outline school and teacher responsibilities, parents' responsibilities, students' responsibilities. It should also address communication about student learning and include activities to build partnerships. An effective plan for two-way communication should also have parent-teacher conferences, progress reports, with reasonable access to staff and volunteer opportunities. Signatures are encouraged but not required for all. And as previously mentioned, a template is available in the CCIP document library. Now we will transition to non-public involvement. Just as a reminder, providing equitable services in the non-public setting is exactly like the services in a targeted assistance model public building. You must have a multi-criterion rank order list showing at least 2 objective, educationally related criteria with students' rank and order from highest to lowest need. It should be clearly identifiable and documented which students are receiving Title I services. School's parent and family engagement plan summary should be reviewed periodically, part of compliance required items. Provide an opportunity to develop a unique program tailored to your school's community and gain feedback from the parents. If the LEA's Title I allocation is greater than $500,000, 1% of the total Title I allocation must be reserved for parent involvement. However, 90% of the 1% shall be reserved to schools under this part with a priority to given to high-need schools. Please note this is a change from the previous requirement of 95% of the 1% set aside. Examples of allowable activities would include family literacy and parenting skills. In simpler terms, these items are required in order to ensure and support compliance with parent and family engagement. Evidence of parent and family engagement activities with the annual Title I meeting, a parent's right to know, including teacher qualifications, timely notice if the teacher is not properly licensed, testing transparency, board-approved district policy, school plan, and parent-school compact. Refer to the CCIP link for templates in the document library that include the parent's right to know, district's parent and family engagement policy, school's parent and family engagement policy plan, school parent compact. Here are some of the required topics schools must inform parents on: state and local assessments, how to monitor child's progress, and having the open dialogue is important. The school district must educate staff on the value of working with parents, provide materials and training to help parents work with their children to improve their children's academic achievement, such as literacy training and using technology, and thirdly, collaborate with external programs and/or groups. Herschel, parent involvement has been a challenging situation for several districts during COVID. Do you have any resources that can assist districts with this?
Thanks, Casey. Yes, I do. Currently, this year has been challenging for all districts, and we know that. So what I was able to do was to contact a few districts and check statewide to see, just to find out what districts were doing during this time of COVID. And one of the number one sites that I was able to find as a resource for the state of Ohio is the Parent Family Engagement Center. And I'm going to take us to that so we can browse that site. Let's see. Okay, and that, can everybody see it?
You can see it.
Okay, great, thank you. On this site, what we were able to find is the Ohio Statewide Family Engagement Center for Every Child. And what I really liked about this site, considering what districts are under at this time, with the pandemic going on, was they had stuff specifically for families, broken down by early childhood, elementary school level, middle and high school. They also have stuff for districts, for remote learning. So what I like to do is first take a look at, uh, districts can always forward this to their families or get this information out to their families of how they can help their students learn, why some of them are still learning from home. If you click in on this site, you have remote learning and pandemic resources. You have printable calendars for parents, back to school planning tools for parents and families. The goal of Title I is to be able to help the most needy students. And these are great resources to be able to provide parents with. And it also helps the districts to have constant communication. That's one thing that has to happen during this time, is to be able to communicate with our parents during this time period that is very difficult for our families and for our districts. Supporting student growth. Let's see, we also have age-specific supports for coping with COVID, crisis at home. We have information for students, of ELL students. So this just has an enormous amount of resources that districts can pass on for their parents, or that districts can get for even ideas that they can do uh, with their with their parents if they're not doing them already. Currently, you have some school districts are doing virtual engagement. Some have created departments of engagement during this time period, and also reopening task force. This allows, I know I looked at Columbus City School District, and that's one of the largest school district in the state of Ohio, and they actually had a task force specifically geared towards communicating with parents and getting parents the help they need to help their students to be able to learn. They also connected with community partners to be able to help pass out Chromebooks and things of that nature to help with upcoming graduating seniors. Community partners help them get things in order to do that. And then they had a learning extension centers that they work directly with for some parents that have to go to work. Some school districts that aren't back in school yet, they're able to go to these learning extension centers and get help with their homework, and they're able to communicate with parents on how that's going. So I thought that that was huge. Communicating with parents is a must when receiving Title One, but I think just due to the situation, it's almost better to over communicate, um, seeing that the state we're in with this pandemic. Also, if we go to schools, you can actually see on the school side or the district side, they have things, family centered instructional planning do's and don'ts, virtual family engagement toolkit, which has a lot of great ideas in it. For districts that are trying to get ideas on how to continue to communicate with families, it would be a good idea to go and look and see what some other of the larger school districts are doing and see what works for your specific school district. Everything doesn't work for everyone. So this is just a wealth of resources and the knowledge that districts can get and sometimes come up with some ideas to help them to be able to still communicate with their parents and families. And lastly, they have actual videos that you can go and watch YouTube videos to see how you can assist your families during this time period. So I wanted to show this resource. I thought it would be good for. I know a lot of districts already know about this resource, but it is a very good resource for the state of Ohio.
So we had a few questions from the chat. I believe a couple of them have been answered about education licensure during COVID, and some questions about the non-public. But another question that came in is for virtual meetings with a recording of the meeting or screenshot of the participants list will suffice in lieu of sign-in sheets?
Yes. Yes, that would, because I know this year we're looking at things different. We still want to know that parents are attending, but that's the way to show proof that parents are attending.
Okay. For those that asked the questions in the chat, if they were not answered, now is your chance to get clarification, and we will also take any other questions at this time.
Hi, I was the one who asked the question about licensure, and I've read the document that was linked in the chat, but I'm still not clear. We have a teacher who falls into the last paragraph of that document, and her licensure, so I know she's covered this year, but I'm not sure if she's covered for Title I purposes.
I could definitely, if you like to email me, you could email me, and I could check with the person who kind of helps us with licensure in our department. With
Herschel, do you want me to answer that?
Sure, yes, sir. I was going to direct you. Thanks,
Good
Scott.
morning. The answer is you do not need to send the letter because it does meet the definition of properly licensed. ESEA basically says that it leans back onto the individual states to define what properly licensed is. And due to COVID, there are some waivers for this year, but I want to caution everybody that it is a waiver just for this year. So that would meet the properly licensed, and you would not need to send the letter to the parents.
Herschel, there has been a request for for a repeat of the proof if we cannot get a sign-in sheet.
I think I just answered that, Casey.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Amy. Herschel, how soon is there a required percentage that must be spent on parent involvement in the Title III grant?
A required percentage. No, I don't believe it's well, hold on. Let me check on that. I will ask Rasha regarding that, but I'm almost sure that it is not a specific percentage. I know that the parent family engagement has to be in there as a part of Title III. That has to be a part of receiving those funds. You have to have parental engagement. But I'm not sure on the exact percentage, but I can check on that.
Hey, Herschel,
Yes.
Michael here. There is no set percentage. There just has to be a portion of the allocation set aside for parent engagement.
True. Okay. Thank you. I thought that that was the case, but I didn't know if it was a specific percentage.
Okay, Herschel, can you clarify the requirements for sending the not properly licensed letter during COVID?
But not properly licensed during COVID.
If the teacher is properly licensed under the waivers for licensure due to COVID, then you do not have to send a letter, is what Scott was saying.
Kelly has a
Have to
question
clarify
about
if that is not
Title.
correct.
Kelly has a question about the percentage for the set aside amount for Title I. And my understanding is that if your Title I allocation is under 500,000, there is no required percentage amount. But if it is over 500,000, is that correct, Herschel?
It has to be at least 1% over 500,000.
Herschel, is there a link? Oh, okay, Candace just answered that. Amy, is that link that you provided have a waiver for the teacher licensure during COVID, or is that just a link for instructions about that?
It is the department's guidelines and guidance on the waivers that are currently in place. As far as there being an actual waiver, I'm not aware. That might be something Scott would know. I don't think there's an actual like waiver form. I think it's just the current licensure requirements.
Yeah, basically on the website, there's the allowable waivers due to COVID. For instance, you can move a teacher plus or minus 2 grade levels with the superintendent's approval outside of their licensed area. That is but that is due to COVID, that it's only good for this year. There are some additional substitute waivers that are available also that are on the restart guide that ODE put out. It's on the ODE website under teacher licensure or under the restart section.
Herschel, are there any required Title I policies and plans that need annual board approval?
Actually, the parent engagement policy should be looked at annually by the board. So that should be done annually. And then the school plan should be looked at every 3 to 5 years. So the board approved will need to review that parent engagement and family engagement policy annually. And usually when they look at it annually, it actually has the date that the board approves the review. Well, this concludes our parent engagement and family engagement policy presentation. Of course, I will stay on the line for the remainder of the time if anybody else has any questions. But I definitely would like to thank all of you for coming and listening to our presentation, and hopefully you found it informative.
Herschel, there's been a question asked for clarification on the difference between a parent-family policy and a plan.
Okay, the policy is the overall policy of what districts will be doing for parents. So that's the overall district policy of how they're going to engage parents. And this is board approved. So this has to be a board approved district policy. Okay, the plan is building specific, and it's going to say what they're going to do with parents in the building. The parent and school compact is usually included in that plan. It's more specific to your building level.
Looks like we have another question here. Title III funds, can they be used for interpreters? Can they also be used for interpretation of parent communications?
Yes, they can be used for interpreters. That is an allowable usage for Title III funds.
Herschel, can I stop in a second?
Sure.
This is Rasha, sorry, Title C coordinator. They can be used as long as it's supplemental. So any type of services that's being offered for all students in the district, if you're using translator for those type of services, you have to use your own general funds. If it's something supplemental or specific for the EL parents or EL students, then that's when you can use Title III funds for that services or interpretations.
Looks like that's all of our questions. If you need any more clarification, again, this presentation will be sent out to all participants, and you can actually go. It has been recorded. You can actually go and see the presentation, and if you need to contact any one of the consultants about parent engagement or myself or Casey, please feel free to do so.